All right, moving on from Tesla, we have a brand new leak here. Render based on leaks from a really reliable leaker, obviously. Actually, these two groups have worked together previously on these renders. It's On Leaks and 91 Mobiles. And it is a render based on a leak, but from a really reliable source. So many are thinking that this is going to be pretty accurate to what the Galaxy S11 is going to look like. We've been talking about it. Of course, there's the rumor that the selfie camera is going to shrink substantially and move to the center of the frame. Obviously, the advantage of being smaller is more screen and less camera, less obstruction. And then by moving to the center, I don't know if you never used the S10, S10 Plus. No. When you have the selfie camera in the corner, even though it's nice to have it out of the way, if you use the selfie camera, there's kind of a strange angle you need to apply to take a square photo. And I can't imagine Samsung was completely happy with that. It's this kind of thing where there's a benefit by having it out of the way, but then that drawback. Then, of course, when they went to the Note series and made it symmetrical, maybe they're thinking, okay, we'll just make the whole lineup look like that. So in this particular render, you have the central selfie camera. You have an incredibly slim bezel on the phone around both sides and the top with a slightly larger chin. And then the other big change is on the back of the device where there's an enormous camera cutout housing up to 5 cameras, which is obviously a tremendous number of cameras. Based on the render, you can see something that looks like an ultra wide on the bottom there. Telephoto looks like it's on the top. Of course, the standard focal range probably in the middle. And unlike the competitors, unlike the Pixel over here with the square cutout, the iPhone has a square box on the back, even though it only has 3 cameras. They have this slightly more slender-looking rectangular unit. But, man, these camera modules are getting enormous. He's going to have we're used to it because we've seen it now, but you remember when people started sharing the renders for this phone, the Pixel, or the new iPhone, people go nuts. It's kind of like they were having a Cybertruck moment. People were saying it looks like a spider's eyeballs and arachnophobia, tryptophobia, whatever phobias, all the phobias came out.
Yeah.
Now, I just look at that and I say, yeah, okay, of course, more cameras.
Makes sense.
Eventually, that whole back panel is going to be camera lenses, or at least a lot of it. So there's a video to go with it, actually, down at the bottom, where they've turned these renders into an actual moving thing. As far as some specs on there, apparently you're going to be looking at a 6.7-inch, 120 hertz AMOLED panel. I think that'll make people happy and excited. Samsung might eliminate the Bixby button as well, possibly listening to customers on that one. I never minded the idea of having an extra button, but it was just, you couldn't, at least in the early days, really configure it easily. You had to take a few steps to do so. And I don't know who's actually using Bixby. Bixby people get mad at me. There's actually Bixby people out there. They say, I can actually go deeper into my commands because Bixby has certain access that other voice assistants don't, at least within Samsung phones. But it's obviously not a big enough group, or if Samsung drops it, that will be evidence that it's not a big enough group of users, Bixby users out there. So the rumor here is that they will drop it. The renders also show no dedicated headphone jack, which I guess that's a wrap on headphone jacks. And there will be a new chip. That's to be expected. It'll pack the Snapdragon 865 chipset, likely, or Samsung's own chip in certain markets. Now, like I said, there's a track record here with OnLeaks where they, given the information that they're able to get access to, OnLeaks, 91 Mobiles, they've been really on point in the past. So even though it is a render, you got to take it for what it is. You can't take it with 100% confidence. There should be pretty good reason to believe that we're seeing something close to what Samsung would do. And I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. The only thing that's up for dispute probably is that camera cutout and whether or not it houses 5 actual cameras instead of maybe 4 or 3, whatever we end up seeing over there. If you got 5 cameras, what do you have? You have a wide, you have a telephoto, you have a standard, you have a macro, and then you have a time of flight. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot going on. But it would be cool. It would be cool. Admit that.
Yeah.
Admit that.
I was just thinking wide and then ultra wide. Those are
Oh,
right?
two wides now. I don't think
But
they do that.
usually isn't the standard.
They
like,
call
the
it.
wide?
They call the standard vocal range wide.
Right.
Yeah, standard
Yeah.
focal length. They call it wide. So, and you're not gonna have two zooms. So
Maybe a macro.
a macro. Throw a macro. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they got carried away with the render on that one. But it looks pretty cool nonetheless, as far as I can tell. Of course, it's an iteration. It's not a massive overhaul. It's an iteration and improvement as you'd expect. S11.